Welcome back to Someday Chronicles, our Minnesota bound trip. And this here's the reason why we drove all the way to Minnesota from Oregon, was to see Leo. A great time to visit with family. We had a great visit, great time to catch up. Had a really good time there, and of course Sonja got baby snuggles, which is always good. Then we headed home. First stop was in Scotland, South Dakota. We had been through this area on our big trip, but spent more time in Kaler. This is an area where Sonja's great-grandmother was born before she moved to Oregon. So we spent a little more time in Scotland. According to some records we can find, her great-grandmother was possibly born here in Scotland. And we went to their heritage museum here in town, and we had to call and get someone to meet us there. They don't have just standard open hours. You have to call and set up an appointment. And very, very nice folks came down and opened it up for us and let us walk through it. It was early in the year, so a lot of their displays had still been covered up by sheets and other protective coverings just to keep it safe through the winter, because they don't really get a lot of people coming to look at this stuff late in the year. A lot of historical artifacts, some of it very local, others just representative of what was in the area. Just a lot of history, a lot of neat information. Unfortunately, we were kind of hoping to find more about Sonja's great-grandma and her great-great-grandparents, but there wasn't a lot about them in that area. But they were only there for a few years before moving to Oregon, so it's kind of to be expected. But it was still a good visit. And again, it was really neat to see all of the different historical articles they had there. The little chapel had several German Bibles, and her great-great-grandparents were from Germany. And it was interesting to see some of that. I had a lot of information about locals that were in the military, and both buildings were clear full of artifacts and information about locals. It was a neat visit. That's actually the switchboard that was actually used in Scotland back in the day. That was kind of neat. It was a fun visit. Glad we went there. A little bummed we weren't able to find more information on Sonja's family, but still a great visit. If you're in the area, it's a good museum to go to. Lots of neat, valuable information there. And from there it was on to Mitchell, South Dakota. According to the 2020 census, Mitchell had a population of 15,660 people. Yet when you walk downtown, at least to us, it felt like it was a much bigger city than just shy of 16,000 people. It's a really neat downtown section. Lots of old architecture and neat looking old buildings. Of course, one of the big attractions in Mitchell was the Corn Palace for us. Seen it on other channels and seen it on the web, but never been there until now. And that was one of the things we wanted to go see. Kind of has a neat history. The Corn Palace was first established in 1892. At that time, they dubbed themselves the world's only corn palace. It has since grown to such an attraction that it's estimated that over 500,000 people annually come to visit the Corn Palace. There's a Corn Palace festival held in late August every year. And it got to be such a big thing that they built the second Corn Palace in 1905. It wasn't too long after that, they built the third, the current building we see here, in 1921. What I think is really neat is every single year they redecorate the entire palace. It's all covered with naturally colored corn and other grains. It's just amazing when you step back and look at it, the detail of the murals, and when you get up and close, it's very easy to see the different ears of corn or the stalks of grain. And it's just amazing that they can take that. They currently use about 12 different shades from the various corn and grains they use to be able to do the murals. They have a gift store right across the street from the Corn Palace. We spent quite a bit of time in there and had a good laugh at some of the really interesting things they had. That got a pin that was shaped like a ear of corn and corn on everything. It was kind of amazing. And this is the inside arena. They also decorate the inside, as you can see on the walls. And there's a hallway all the way around. They have historical pictures of past decorations. And it's become such a big thing in the city that their light posts even have ears of corn on it. It's one of the biggest attractions in the city. And, you know, they had a Cabela's, and as much as I like to visit Cabela's, we went there. I also needed a new heater for our trailer. The old one, the ceramic element inside had actually come unglued from some of the bumpy roads and basically disintegrated. I think we ended up finding the heater we wanted at a different Cabela's, but we were looking for it here as well. For me, I enjoy going through Cabela's and seeing their dioramas and just seeing the sheer amount of, like fishing gear. When I was growing up, we went to Hank's Thriftway in Cornelius, and they had a small section. You didn't really have much of a choice. You go into Cabela's, and boy, do you have a choice of lures and fishing line and fishing rods, and ice fishing around this area is much, much more popular than it is in Oregon, at least where I'm from in Oregon. And it was just amazing to see row after row after row of ice fishing poles. Just something we don't see in our neck of the woods. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy Cabela's and doing business with them for a long time. Don't see that changing anytime soon. Well, stay tuned for our next adventure. We're headed to Wall Drug in downtown Wall, South Dakota. Thanks for watching.